All right, guys. So today I want to talk a little bit about forming habits, and I know with the virus and everything going on right now, really getting into a daily routine probably is very challenging for most people. I'm going to go through and do a video on schedules and planning, and one thing that I've decided to do is go get myself a planner because of the fact that my life is so much different than what it normally is, and I'm used to my normal everyday plan, and I use the planners at work and the systems at work. So to me, just having a game plan for every day is what I like to get done and what I like to achieve. Hopefully will make a big difference in creating some regularity within my life. But what I wanted to talk about today, which goes along that same line, is forming habits, and really becoming healthy, becoming fit, comes down to nothing more than allowing those healthy habits to outweigh those unhealthy habits. And you might be surprised how many things that we do on a daily basis that are habits that are habitual motions that aren't necessarily leading to your goals. And so to me, what I always think is that if you're not in charge of developing those habits, you're outsourcing that to somebody else, that you're allowing somebody else to be in charge of those habits that are being formed. And all those advertisements that you see and all those commercials and all those Facebook posts and things like that's really what begins to form your own habits. And so in order to form habits, I'm gonna give a link to this video too as well. Basically, we need a hormone called dopamine. Dopamine is that training hormone. It's like a treat for a dog that you say, good job, you done well, here you go. And basically what that does is it trains your mind to say, out of everything in the world that we could focus on, I want you to focus right here in this one little spot, okay? And we have a tendency of being drawn toward that one little spot. And the way that we initiate dopamine is through victories, through wins, through successes. Whenever you're good at something, you get a nice dopamine response. Your brain says, that's good, let's continue doing this, let's continue doing this. And for most people, when they set their goals are so far down the road that they never get a chance to use that dopamine response in order to become successful. And so they're kind of working without that primary goal that trains your mind to say, this is something that's important, this is something that we need to do. And so what we do is we take that big goal and we start dividing it into small goals, and we figure out what skill sets are we going to need in order to achieve that big goal. And we start breaking those down to smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller basic goals. And what we want is we don't necessarily want performance-based goals, we want action-based goals. And so what actions am I going to need to achieve today in order to be successful in that long run? And those small little achievements that we have along the way, those create that nice dopamine response. And like I said, I'm going to link to an article on this too as well that I put together. But basically what we want is we want to take that smallest bit that, or actually, I mean, the best way to think about it is you take the largest bit that you know for sure that you're going to be successful with. And if you haven't done this before, start off very small. So for example, the example I use in the article is that if your goal is to eat better, don't start off by eating perfect, because there's a very narrow corridor that you can go through, that you can travel through, that leads to that perfection. Everything else is a failure when you're going to lose that dopamine response. And so instead of that, we would go, gosh, what's the smallest thing that I know for a fact that I could do? Or the biggest thing that I know for a fact that I could do, I guess. For some people, it might just be, week one, I'm going to go through and I'm going to eat one vegetable a day. And that's all I need to do. And you could overperform on that, but you're allowing yourself to get that dopamine response. You're training yourself that I can do this, I can create discipline, because discipline is something that's very much so trainable. And now even if you overperform on that, you will still have hit that one goal. So let's say that you ate, a serving of vegetables 3 times a day. That's good, but you at least got that one vegetable in. And then next week you go through and you set another goal. So I'm going to have one serving of vegetable, and you outperform that. And next week you build a little bit further. And the thing about this is that by doing this, you're building these healthy habits, but you're also focusing on nutrition. You're focusing on what's important. And whatever your dominant thought is has a tendency of becoming your reality over time. And so if you're thinking about eating pie and eating, pizza, whatever it might be, that's going to become your reality. But if you're focusing now on eating vegetables, that's going to become your reality. Within that same vein, if you're thinking about not doing something, that thing that you're not thinking about will become your reality. So if you think, don't eat pizza, don't eat pizza, don't eat pizza, you're going to eat pizza. There's a fantastic, there's Kids in the Hall skit, and he does this thing where, it's supposed to be what's going on inside of his brain. He says, what did your mother tell you? Never pour salt in your eyes. Never pour salt in your eyes. Never pour salt in your eyes. And what he's doing is pouring salt in his eyes. And the concept is that when you tell somebody not to do something, their tendency is to do that. When you tell your brain not to do something, its tendency is to want to do that. So what we're doing is we're focusing that energy on doing and not doing. And so by focusing that energy on, I'm going to eat healthier by eating a vegetable a day. I'm going to eat healthier by making sure I get adequate protein, making sure I get my water intake. Whatever it might be, instead of focusing on what you don't want to do, you'll be far more successful. But by setting these little small goals, over time, those goals will build up to a big goal and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the thing is if you just start off with day one with eating one vegetable, and after a week increase it, and after another week increase it, after a year, I almost guarantee you would have the habit of eating a perfect nutritional diet, at least as close to perfect as you'd want to be at that point. So always start small and end big. Remember, those small victories add up that dopamine response, and that dopamine response is really what's training your brain to go, let's focus in on that one spot that we want to be focused on, which is our healthy nutrition. Like I said, I linked up an article for this one. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you guys have any questions, hit me up in the comments or text me or call me. And like I said, I want to put together something on schedules and how to form a new schedule for you to adjust to the new normal that's come about. Okay? All right, guys. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope everybody's healthy and safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.